Yeah, on that computer.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for the Navigator Schools Critical Friends Group. This is a recording in case you missed our CFG info session yesterday. I'm Crystal Toriumi. I'm the Director of Model Implementation for Navigator Schools, and this is my colleague, James Dent.
Nice to meet you. I'm the Chief Academic Officer of Navigator. Navigator was opened back in 2011 at our first flagship school, Gilroy Prep, which is a kinder through 8th program, as well as we also run Hollister Prep, which is also K-8. Watsonville Prep, which is growing to K-8, is currently K-5, and recently we merged with Hayward Collegiate.
All right, and so I'm going to share my screen and present our info session. All right, so in going over our agenda, we have given you introductions. We're going to talk about the community of mentors concept and the why behind that as it relates to Critical Friends Group. We'll share our scope and sequence, tell you a little bit about the time commitment, and then have any next steps and share contact information for questions.
I'll start off with our mission. So the mission of Navigator School equips students to become learners and leaders in high school, college, and beyond. And most importantly, for our Critical Friends Group cohorts, we develop top-tier teams of educators who continuously improve and innovate schools that deliver phenomenal outcomes for all students, regardless of their circumstances.
And the way we do this is centering around our core 3 model. And all of the adult learning, professional learning, coaching, academic coaching is centered around these core 3 pillars, which is excellent student and adult culture, rigorous instruction, and data-driven instruction. And the base that holds that all up is the essential coaching component, which we'll really be diving into in our Critical Friends Group discussions.
And the reason we feel that's so important is because we have had outstanding academic achievement at our schools over the years, and we believe it's the coaching that has made the difference. So if you look at this, you'll see Navigator on the top. 84% of our free and reduced lunch students were proficient on ELA in 2018. And 89% of the students that were non-economically disadvantaged were also proficient or met or exceeded standards. Sorry, I'm using old nomenclature there. And then if you look at our gap, it's very small between those two groups. When you look at California, there's a huge gap between economically disadvantaged students and not economically disadvantaged. And interestingly, you'll see that our economically disadvantaged had a 15-point, was 15% better than the state's non-economically disadvantaged. We see that same trend with our English learners versus English only at the state level, as well as our Latino versus white populations, and also our, which one am I forgetting, Crystal? I think it's those 3.
Awesome. So we received a grant from the California Department of Education, and we get to represent the central charter region of California. So this is a little bit about the Critical Friends Group, and it's funded, thank you, CDE. And we are one of 3 RTAC subgrant recipients for the 22-23 school year. And so our region covers the Central Valley, the Bay Area, and the Central Coast area of California. So if you're a charter leader from that area, you qualify to receive free Critical Friends Group support.
Just a little bit about Critical Friends Group. Back in 1994, it was originated with the National School Reform Faculty Organization. And it's a specific type of professional learning community focused on problem solving, accomplishing goals set by its participants. And they have a plethora of protocols that allow these groups from diverse organizations to really interact effectively.
And diving into the CFGs a little deeper, is the focus is on really improving or resolving dilemmas brought by the participants. So the idea is not to work in isolation, although it can sometimes feel like that as an administrator. And so by coming together, CFG participants can enjoy combined wisdom and commitment of the whole group towards resolving problems. And through thought partnership, develop tangible solutions and work products.
The next 3 slides kind of tell the story of Justin Steiner, who is our other Critical Friends group coach, along with myself. He's wanted to use this book as an example of his journey as a principal. So what's a tribe of mentors? Tim Ferriss, who records a weekly podcast where he brings on world-class performers in many sectors. His belief is that if a person has already achieved success, they've learned lessons along the way. And as we as professionals develop, we should be looking for that group of mentors who essentially is available there for support, advice, and ongoing learning. And so the idea of the Critical Friends group really mirrors this book's thesis.
And so the idea is that you don't have to go it alone. This could be a first-year principal metaphor. This could be a principal coming out of distance learning, COVID, and a rough couple of years. And so over here, we have our ideal vision of school. And between those two is a large gap and cliff that needs to be scaled or bridged. And so by going alone without a bridge or community of mentors, the journey is challenging and arduous.
And we often find ourselves here, down in the pit of despair, in which we are unable to basically exit. And the idea with the Critical Friends group is that you have people to lean on, people to call, and build a bridge between your vision and actuality.
And so the idea is to find your guide or guides. James comes with many years of experience being a site principal, a chief academic officer. I'm the project manager, and I'll be joining CFG sessions as well. I was a vice principal, a classroom teacher for many years, and am now a director of curriculum and instruction and also supporting partnerships. And Justin was also a former principal. And so we're here to support and also surround ourselves with a community of mentors to not have to go it alone. Justin, by the way, is at jury duty today. He sends his regards.
So the main purpose is to get better faster with the support of the community, to give feedback and advice, receive advice from your community of mentors as challenges arise. So it's a space to be vulnerable, confidential space where problems are shared and we create solutions together. And it's led by the 2 coaches, myself and Justin.
A little about our scope and sequence. By the way, I'm at Gilroy Prep School today and there's dismissal going on. So in case you hear a speaker in the background. Scope and sequence. We'll start with introductions, going over group structures, and then the sequence will follow a series of core 3 principles that we found to be really valuable in our own schools. We're going to go into observation feedback and academic coaching, diving into data analysis and action planning, thinking about how to lead really effective professional learning for staff. And then by mid-year, we're going to dive back into student data analysis and be able to think about action planning for the second half of the year. We'll go into intellectual prep protocols and think about how to really have teachers internalize standards and prepare excellent lesson plans to deliver to their students. And then for the end of year ramp up for SBAC, we'll be looking at how to lead data-driven spiral review and spiraling the standards that students really struggled with and need some review over the year. And then we'll get to close out by doing something that we love, which is developing leadership teams through book studies.
So what's the commitment? The commitment is, there are a couple of different pieces. The first piece is a monthly CFG meeting, which is 2 hours each month, starting in late September. There will be a total of 8 meetings, the last one being in April. In-person or virtual options will be available. The in-person meeting locations will be selected to be equidistant from all participants in the CFG. And then the leadership focus skill session will be presented by a CFG coach at that monthly meeting. And the participants are given and receive feedback based on a current challenge or advice that they need for their future plans. So each of you will come with a problem of practice that we'll be able to support you with.
And there's also school site visits. So they're 1 to 2 full day visits per quarter. The CFG participants will host other members and coaches at their school site for a full day visit. And then critical friends groups will host recurring visits at Navigator schools. So anyone who wants to check out any of our 4 network schools in Hayward, Hollister, Gilroy, or Watsonville will have the opportunity to do so. And when the CFG cohort visits a site, it'll be framed around a specific unresolved problem that's posed by the group. We'll have classroom walkthroughs. It'll end with a debrief and then a plan for implementation on any noticings that people found helpful. And then just noting site visits are optional, but really strongly encouraged. I found that my most profound changes in classroom practices as a teacher and then structural school-wide practices as a principal were done often by visiting another great school.
Additional supports that we'll be providing at basically as needed or as requested. We're available to provide one-on-one coaching, additional site visits. Our schools are always open to you to come visit as many times as you like. And these are also all included in the cost, which is 0.
So next steps is if you are interested, and I realize that my email is not on here. So if you have questions or would like to apply, you can reach out to me at crystal.toriumi@navigatorschools.org. And I'll put that up from the current slide again. That's crystal.toriumi@navigatorschools.org.
If you have any further questions, of course, reach out to Crystal. She has the application link, which she'll send out to you. And we're happy to do a more personalized call if anybody would like to jump on with us anytime between now and the first meeting.
Awesome. We are looking to finalize our application decisions by mid-September. So that's in a couple of weeks. And we'll be starting our meetings, as mentioned before, at the end of September. So we look forward to hearing from you.